Hey there! So this is going to be the solution to making a modal. Now, just like the project before, I didn't plan this one out. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do this. I'm honestly just going to wing it. Chances are I'm going to make a ton of mistakes. Things are not going to work. I'm going to make a bunch of typos. And it's sort of good because then you can see how another developer works and that other developers with tons and tons, years and years of experience still make silly mistakes. We all do. So without further ado, I guess I should just get cracking on this. So feel free to observe, spectate, leave some comments if you like. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you tell me I did something wrong or I spelt something wrong or, anything like that. So anyways, let's get at it. So we're building a modal. The first thing we need to do is we need a modal container. Now we have two ways to do this. We can let JavaScript create a new modal every single time you want to open a modal, and we have the second way, which is you use one modal and you reuse the code that's on your page. We're going to go with option number 2. It's not the greatest option, but for what we're doing, again, this doesn't have to be elegant code or anything. It just needs to work. So let's start with modal. I do everything with classes. I tend to try not to use IDs unless I'm teaching. So we have our full modal here. In here, I know we have modal title. I spelled that wrong. And I'm just going to place that in there. And here, I know we have modal content. Say content there. And we also have modal footer, which is where the buttons were. We can say footer. Actually, I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to say modal button, and I'm also going to call that modal close. Close modal. So now we have a section for our title, for our content, and for our close button. Now we also need to be able to open this modal, so let's create a button. Button, type. Just a regular button will do. Open modal. Now, using only what we know, I'm going to say on click, open modal. It's a function that we have not created yet. Okay, so I open my page and this is what I have. That's not right. So unfortunately, I can't get away without some extra styling. So here's what we're going to do. Modal. What is in the modal? Well, it's a fixed position, right? The top is going to be 25%, left is going to be 50%. Do we want any sort of transition? No. Let's do translate though. Nope. Transform, translate. X goes left and right, Y goes top and bottom. Minus 25%. Let's make a border, 1 pixel solid CCC, background color, also black, and just so we know, all the text in the modal is going to be black. Cool, let's look at this. There it is, I didn't give it a width. What happens if I do 100% here? Okay. And actually, what that's supposed to be is, I believe that's 50%. It's been a while since I've made one of these. The width, 50% again. There we go, dead center. Now we have title, content modal, modal title, font size, 19 pixels, border bottom, 1 pixel solid CCC. If you don't want to watch me do the CSS, that's totally fine. You can skip ahead. At this point in time, I just sort of assume that you know CSS. Here we're going to do padding 20 pixels and modal footer. It's not how you spell footer. Border top, 1 pixel solid CCC. Now let's see what this looks like. It's all right. Let's add a little padding to the title and the footer. There we go. And there it is. Cool. Okay. So now you need to be hidden. Display none. Refresh. There we go. Open model doesn't do nothing because open model is not defined, but we know why it's not defined. Function open modal. Now the only thing we want to do here is we want to select our modal and we want to make it visible. That's step number one. So if we set variable modal is equal to document dot query selector dot modal, and then modal dot style dot display is equal to block, what would happen? There's our modal. So now we have something that's going to show up on top of our page. Now we can't see it yet, and actually let's add a z index of 10 and to our body, just so that we can see that there are different layers. The background color is going to be red, reddy brown, and the color is going to be white. Ah, there we go. Look at that. But now we can use closure and scopes to our benefit, because why declare this over and over again if we only ever need to declare it once? Because there's only that one element on the page. So let's try this. Refresh. There it is. So if we wanted to make this toggleable, not really sure how to say that, we would say if the modal style dot display is equal to block, then change it to none. Or if it is none, change it to block. We're not going to do that right now though. Instead, what we need is to add the title, the content, and a close button. Let's start with the close button because that's probably easiest. Close modal. And all we do is modal.style.display is equal to none. And all that does is hide it again. And in here, we can create a button close modal, and the class, the onClick event is going to be close modal. Refresh the page, open our modal, close our modal, open our modal, close our modal. Awesome, that's working now. We're almost there. Now a title and content. How do we get title and content in there? Well, if we're opening our modal, there should be a title and content in there, right? So let's add modal title, modal content. Now what this is going to do is change the title and the actual content inside of the modal. So here we're going to create modal title dot inner HTML is equal to modal title. Now we need to go and declare this again. I'm just actually going to copy this over because why type it all over and over again? Modal title, and let's do the same thing for the content. Modal content, just like that. Now in here we do modal content, and what happens when we click this? Wow, look at that. That should not be surprising to us. These are undefined because these are currently not defined. Well, let's go back to our HTML and open modal, title here, content here. Refresh our page. Look at that, title here. Well, that's not good. Now, why is that? Remember a couple lessons ago when I told you to be careful about copy and paste? This is why. This happens to all of us. I copied and pasted and I got too far ahead of myself, and it should have been modal content, not modal title. Refresh the page, try that again. There we go, we got title, we got content, we got our close modal. But now let's say we want that little X, the little times symbol in all of our modals. Well, we could put it in an element somewhere and change a bunch of our JavaScript, or we could just append it to our title. Not class. I want on click is equal to close modal. Why would I want span? Why not button? A span would work fine, but a button has a little extra styling that we can leverage. There we go. Refresh our page, open modal. Look at that. Works just the way we had expected. And there we go. In just a few minutes, we have a modal up and running.